Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to our channel once again. Yesterday, I came across this clip by Babu Owino.
I want to say that should you fail to deliver to Kenyans, there's only one person that I know that will be easily defeated in 2027. Defeating you, Mr. Ruto, in 2027 will be easier than reciting vowels. Any living thing that is capable of locomoting or moving from one place to the other will defeat you in 2027. Even if you take a goat and dress the goat and put it on the ballot, will defeat you in 2027. Thank you and God bless you.
And for those who've been following this channel, I've always stated on many occasions here that William Ruto is actually the easiest president to remove from office via the ballot. I don't want to get into that for now. But after listening to that clip, something also came up in my mind. Babu Owino's political future. Because the statement by Babu Owino actually contradicts what Raila Odinga and ODM party are currently pursuing. Which means for Babu Owino to succeed, politically speaking, he must chart his own political path away from ODM party. So in this video, I want to explain to you guys why personally, I strongly believe that for Babu Owino to succeed politically speaking, because the stars are already aligning in his favor, he must chart his own political path away from Raila Odinga. But before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the ODM party made some changes to its leadership. Gladys Wanga became the national chairman. Simba Arati, Otsosi, Godfrey, and Abdul Somad Nasir became the three deputy party leaders. Edwin Sifuna was retained as the Secretary General. In Parliament, Junet Mohammed was elevated to serve as the minority leader. And Millie Odhiambo was elevated now to become the minority whip. And Caleb Amisi became the chair of the pack. In all those appointments, majority of ODM members had expected Babu Owino to be at least placed somewhere, if not at the national level within the ODM leadership, probably even to chair PAC. But that did not happen. And Babu Owino clearly was disappointed by that move. And that move alone confirms to you that within ODM party is going to take a miracle for Babu Owino to successfully rise to the level he wants. And therefore, in my view, for Babu Owino to succeed, he must chart his own political path away from Raila Odinga. Why am I saying this? Number one, Babu Owino has already created a brand for himself. Babu Owino as a name is a brand name. During COVID, Babu Owino was lecturing students across the country online. He was offering online classes, primary and high school. I'm 100% sure that the student Babu Owino taught, most of them are currently out of school, some are in universities, but they had that personal interaction with Babu Owino. Before Babu Owino joined parliament, he was already a figure, a known figure, a student leader who had served the longest at the University of Nairobi as the chairman. So when he joined politics, Babu Owino was not a new name. So for Babu Owino to survive politically speaking, he must take advantage of his name. Because he has a brand, he can decide to pursue his political path away from Raila Odinga. Just under Raila Odinga, but away. Because you see, like currently, Raila Odinga is working with William Ruto. I want a situation where Babu Owino is loyal to Raila Odinga, but pursuing other interests away from what Raila Odinga is pursuing. So that's number one. Number two, within ODM party, Babu Owino is a marked man. Otherwise, if Babu Owino was not a marked man, there is no way those appointments would be made without the name Babu Owino being included. He's a marked man. And I've been asking myself, why is Babu Owino a marked man? At some point, I got a bit of information that after the last election, for example, Babu Owino wanted to become the chair of the park committee. And you all know that Mbadi contested for Homa Bay gubernatorial elections. As fate would have it, Mbadi was the national chairman of ODM party. Therefore, he could not run for the member of parliament. So when elections were conducted and concluded, Mbadi had just to be nominated to parliament. Then, ODM made a decision that there's no way their chairman would just serve in parliament as a backbencher. So they decided that Mbadi was going to serve as the chair of the park, a position Babu Owino wanted. Of course, Mbadi previously served as the minority leader. He could not because he was not elected. Members of parliament prefer to be led by elected MPs. So the soft landing for Mbadi was to chair the park. So when this information was shared with Babu Owino, he got mad, and I think he banged a table somewhere, and that's when things started going for him. Sometimes you also blame Babu Owino, because if he was patient enough, he would have been a member of the park. A member of the park. Then probably with the elevation of Mbadi today, he would be the chair of the park committee. But I'm told that is the genesis of his problem. But Babu Owino is clearly a marked man, because within ODM party, Babu Owino wants to become the kingpin. So far, the old men within ODM party are not comfortable with Babu Owino being the kingpin in Luo Nyanza. Babu Owino wants to create his own network within the ODM party. Nobody wants that to happen. Babu Owino is currently one of the most loved, apart from Raila Odinga. In fact, I've attended most of ODM rallies. Wherever Babu Owino is, you'd feel when he lands, when he moves around, people just have a feeling for him. That is not sitting comfortable with the old guards. So they don't want to give him space. And because the old guards cannot give him space, and because Babu Owino is marked, the only sure way for him to succeed is to chart his own political path. So that it will reach a point where now these guys will see Babu Owino as a serious force, and now they will be forced to align with Babu Owino. It will reach a point where now Babu Owino will be told, "We kuja, come with your people." I want to ask you, within ODM party, which other person apart from Raila Odinga can command support away from Luo Nyanza, or even at the national level? We've seen Babu Owino going to Narok. We've seen Babu Owino going to Migori. We've seen Babu Owino going to Kisii. We've seen Babu Owino going to Kambani, and the support is massive. He's a marked man, but that is the truth. He must now take advantage, chart his own political path, and then he will be called to the table. He cannot claim to be breaking the table. He cannot break that table. He can only be invited to the table. Because again, if you look at it critically, sometimes if Babu Owino were to learn political persuasion, he might be called to the table, but he can force himself onto that table. Number 3, there is also the need for Babu Owino, if he wants to run for the presidency in future. There is a need for him to create his own political networks. You see, if you go to URP today, it's UDA today, that's William Ruto's party. I'm 100% sure in Kisumu here, if William Ruto wants to call UDA member, he knows the person to call. ODM party, if Raila Odinga wants to get something done in Mombasa, let's say in Kitui, or let's say in Nyamira, he knows the right people to call there. His people, forget about the MPs, his people. For Babu Owino to succeed in future, he must also create his own network. Because remember, there's a very huge gap between Babu Owino and Raila Odinga within ODM party. And I'm 100% sure that majority of those who support Raila Odinga, those who stood with him from 1992, those guys will not easily embrace Babu Owino. And even if Babu Owino were to create his network, he can't create networks of those people. He can only create networks of his level. Fellow student leader, people is meeting currently, the agencies, that level. So he must also start figuring out, how can I create my own network, so that if I go to Makwiny today, I know huyu ndi mtu wangu, not necessarily ODM, but mtu wangu. If I go to Elgeyo Marakwet, this is my guy. If I come to Kisumu here, my guy is Lee, or my guy is this other person. So he must be able to create his own network. And for him to create that network, he cannot create it within ODM party, because ODM party has its own owner, who is Raila Odinga. Yeah. Number 4, if you ask me, Babu Owino can also start focusing on the new generation of voters. Historically, Raila Odinga is associated with reforms, the struggle for multipartyism, the constitutional changes. Babu Owino is growing up in a new generation of voters. And this new generation of voters are the famously called Gen Zs. If you are to look at it critically, Gen Zs are very powerful, but they don't have a leader. These guys are defying Ruto. These guys are defying Raila. They are defying any other person. They need one of their own. Nobody has emerged. Names are being floated. Sijui Jimmy Wanjigi. Jimmy Wanjigi is not fitting. It's not one of them. Okea Mtata is not fitting. Not one of them. We are talking of Fred Matiang'i. Is not fitting. It's not one of them. When Raila Odinga, Paul Moite, Orengo, and the rest were in Ford, Kenya, they were a kind of another age, Gitobi Manyara, that group. They were young. They were called young thugs. Babu Owino can take advantage and target these people. He can only target them by charting his own political path, because clearly the politics of the young generation is totally different from the politics of the older generation. So if you are to approach them, you need to approach them differently. Babu Owino can do that. And lastly, and this is something I want to assure Babu Owino, the war in ODM party, which is currently fighting, they don't want him. It's not going to end soon. The day Raila Odinga will go to the AU, we are going to witness vicious war in ODM party. And because that war is not going to end soon, nobody should cheat him that will have space within ODM party. ODM has its own succession politics. He can only do what I've explained to him, chart his own political path by developing his brand, creating networks, targeting the young generation, and therefore he will be called onto the table. Let me know what you think. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.